Before I start this video, I would like to say that this video will contain spoilers. If you don't want if you don't want to know spoilers for the movie, and I'm pretty sure the movie hasn't come out everywhere yet, I encourage you to walk away. If you have seen the film already or you don't care about spoilers, feel free to listen to what I think. That said, hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Reign of Horror, and here we are, Captain America Winter Soldier. So, this is one that a lot of people have been very interested in seeing. What did I think of it? Well, I'll say it's good. I'll say that much. It's a good film. But I'm a bit confused about it. Here's the basic. The movie sort of revolves pretty much all around the Winter Soldier in this one. Sort of. I mean, there's one scene at the beginning that kind of sets up the motivation for pretty much everything. Sort of everything. Which, I'm not sure if that's good or bad, really. I mean, to be honest, I'm a bit confused. I mean, I enjoyed the film. I didn't walk out of there thinking it was bad or anything. But it just felt like it was a bit all over the place. And it felt long. It was 2.5 hours and it felt a bit long. I'm gonna be honest with you. So let's get to it. What did I like? Well, the characters, most of them were pretty good. I'm still a bit conflicted about the Scarlet Witch. I mean, I get that she feels very guilty about a lot of things. A lot about her powers, especially with the first scene where she ends up killing whatever his name was. I don't really remember what his name was, but the guy in the skull mask, basically. Or not killing him specifically, but the explosion that killed him also killed a lot of civilians because she lifted them up to a building with a lot of civilians. It's just every scene with her was a bit. I'm not sure if it's her actress or if it's her, or if it's just her character, but she seemed a bit off. Like she wasn't. Like she tried to crack a few quick, speedy comments or one-liners, and it just felt off. It felt like it didn't really fit. And I almost feel like she felt a bit overpowered in this one here. I mean, I know she is really powerful, but she was able to knock Vision through a multitude of dirt and buildings and all that. It's just Vision is supposed to be, he's directly powered by an Infinity Stone. I know he says he can't control it, but apparently she got her powers from that stone, and yet she's able to control it. I don't really understand that one. I mean, I get why Vision is pretty powerful, but I don't understand why she is so very powerful. And she is that powerful. She just felt a bit overpowered. The rest of the people were pretty good. Though, I mean, they've all established themselves as pretty good characters. So, let's instead talk about the newer characters. You know, the new characters in this would be Black Panther and was there anyone else? No, I don't think there was any other characters other than Black Panther and Spider-Man, basically. So, Black Panther. I mean, I felt he was handled pretty well. I mean, he was. He showed off some great action work in there. His motivation was understandable, if a bit primitive, but apparently that's how it's done in this country. Apparently, I'm a bit unsure of how he was able to just get away and be the Black Panther as soon as his father died, when his death would mean that he became the next king of Wakanda. Wouldn't that mean that he has something he needs to do? That he has a lot of people that would want to speak to him about what's to come? I don't know. So yeah, but otherwise, his actor was really good. He was good. I'll say that. I mean, I know there's going to be a Black Panther movie, and I'm excited to see after his appearance here. I'm interested in seeing what they can do with that, especially considering that post-credit scene means that apparently Captain America's team is going to be hiding out in his country, at his estate. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Next, Spider-Man. I am a bit conflicted about Spider-Man. He had some good lines here and there. They made him. I liked the way he was portrayed and all that, but I'm sorry, he felt a bit too young. I know, Spider-Man's supposed to be young, but he felt a bit too young, in my opinion. And he kind of just felt a bit shoved into this film. Kind of. I mean, they introduce him in the second or third act. I'm not entirely sure where the third or fourth act began. I mean, probably in the middle of the second act, and even then he wasn't really that involved. I kind of wish he could have had a movie beforehand, you know, to just kind of introduce him a little bit and maybe a bit more, maybe get used to the idea of a Spider-Man that's this young, apparently. Well, that's at least how I feel. It's just he felt a bit too young for my taste. Like this kid feels like he was just barely a teenager. Barely. I don't know. I might be in the minority, but I wasn't entirely I mean, he wasn't bad, but it's not the best Spider-Man I've seen, not by a long shot. Um, but yeah, I kind of wish he had his own film, cause at least with the other people they had at least other movie appearances, or in some cases their own films. Like Ant-Man, he had his own film beforehand, and so I at least I was at least a bit more familiar with a bit more familiar with him than I was with the other than I was with Spider-Man. I mean, I know who Spider-Man is. I know all about this character, but this is a new take on Spider-Man, and I would have liked to see a bit more of this take on Spider-Man. That's just it. I felt he was a bit underdeveloped in this movie for someone who has a lot of who he had a lot of scenes. Or he basically was part. He had a scene with Tony, and then he had the big fight scene between the two teams. And yeah, that's apparently that. Where was I? How about the villain? I mean, sort of. I mean, there is a villain in this film that's kind of, you know. I mean, he is more of an indirect villain, sort of an infiltrator of sorts. His backstory is it's okay. It seems like it seems to be a running theme of a lost family. You know, Black Panther goes after the Winter Soldier because he lost his father, which incidentally the agent cost. The agent is going after the Avengers because of what happened to his family in Age of Ultron. Iron Man changes goes up. Iron Man's trigger for wanting to sign the peace warrant is that the woman comes up to him and tells him that her kid was lost in Age of Ultron, and Iron Man also changes to it, tries to kill the Winter Soldier when he finds out he was, even though he was brainwashed, he was responsible for the death of Tony's parents. And it seemed to be a running theme in that. I'm not entirely sure what else to say about this film. The action was pretty good. I mean, the car chase, I felt it went on a bit long, but there was some nice action, and there was a decent way to show off the Black Panther skill. The fight between Captain America's team and Iron Man's team, that was pretty good. It was pretty good. It helped at least show off Spider-Man's abilities, even if I don't feel he's a very well-developed character in this sort of. I feel at least he was it was at least handled well in terms of the fight scene. And from what I can tell, this was also it was a nice way to say goodbye to War Machine. While he didn't die, it seems like he's going to be out of action because he apparently got crippled. I'm a bit confused, honestly, about that one. Because, I mean, I could be proven wrong in that they're gonna keep him going, but if they're not gonna use him anymore, why couldn't they just have killed him off? Because they showed it in the trailers? I don't know. But a part of me kind of wishes that at least somebody other than that skull mask and some civilians and the King of Wakanda was the one who were killed. Hell, even the villain tries to kill himself, but the Black Panther stops him and locks him in. Also, there was another scene that just, it didn't feel like they brought it back at all. There's a scene where Tony asks, my left arm is numb, is that normal? And then it's never brought up again throughout the entire film. Usually a numb left arm would usually mean, you know, a heart attack. But nothing came of it. Tony didn't suffer a heart attack throughout the entire film. He didn't really get any injuries outside of the ones he received in battle, and it was just never brought up again. The last fight between Captain America and Iron Man and the Winter Soldier, that was handled pretty well. Though I kind of wish I was kind of hoping that that it wouldn't go. It felt like it took a bit long. Yeah, that seems to be a running theme with that. It felt like it went on a bit long, in my opinion. That's the thing. That's the biggest negative I can really come for this film. That, and I was not a fan of Ross, or whatever you want, General Colonel Ross. I don't know what his rank was, but the leader of the guy who comes up with the whole I don't remember the country name, but the agreement that allows them to be that allows the Avengers to be under the UN's administration. He felt like it's like he apparently. I mean, I'm assuming it's the same. I mean, it's the same actor, but I am assuming it's the same guy from The Incredible Hulk. And yet he felt sort of just. He was just somebody. You know, it could have been anybody, but he just sort of was there. Just, hey, here's the guy from the Hulk movie, and we're not going to mention, and he's barely going to mention the Hulk, and he mentioned it in the same sentence as Thor, and he really doesn't mention any sort of connection to him in the slightest. He doesn't say, he doesn't really have any sort of connection with anything. He just sort of is there. I wasn't really a fan of how they handled him. He just sort of didn't really do anything that was worth noting. He just sort of was there. That's just sort of it. He was just supposed to represent the military, but he doesn't actually do anything. So, yeah. Not entirely sure what they're planning with him. I don't know. Nah. Next. I'm not entirely sure if I have anything more to say about the film. I guess I can, rank them a little bit. Say, was this better than Guardians of the Galaxy? No. No, I'm sorry. This movie felt a bit too long for me, and there was a lot of things I felt like it could have done away with and changed a little bit. Is it better than the first Iron Man? Not really. No, I am sorry. I don't think it's that. Is it better than the first Captain America? I'm inclined to say no, actually. I mean, the villain just kind of wasn't that good. I mean, I know the movie was supposed to center around the infighting of the Avengers, but when you choose to include a villain, I'm gonna look at it that way. And he took up a lot of screen time, and he didn't really have a presence for me that much. He was just sort of all over the place, but he didn't really. His plan was a bit. I'm not entirely sure if I should be angry with his plan, or if I should be angry with him. Or I don't really know how to feel about the guy. He just sort of seems to be there. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but he's supposedly a soldier, so how did he know about all this sort of everything that had to do with the Winter Soldier program and all that? I don't really know. So, and there's another thing that kind of bothered me. They kill off Peggy Carter in this movie. I mean, that was to be expected. She was an old woman and all that, and they kind of just brought that storyline to conclusion. I'm still a bit skeptical about the whole romance between Captain America and her niece. And I mean, the funeral scene was done really well, but I'm still not sure about the two of them. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like Cap wouldn't really, sort of do that. I don't know. That's just kind of what I think. So yeah, the romance between the two of them just felt a bit out of place, in my opinion. I'm sorry. Is it better than Captain America Winter Soldier, though? That's debatable. I'll say this much. It's probably better than Age of Ultron and the first Avengers and which other films are among my... I don't really have anything else really to add to that, because basically I'm probably gonna just say that Civil War is probably not as good as Winter Soldier, but that's debatable. So that one is debatable. So congrats to the film for knocking Age of Ultron off my top 5, but it's still not above my top. It's still not rivaling the first Captain America, the first Iron Man, or Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm sorry if my thought seems a bit inconsistent and weird. I just got back from seeing it, and I don't know, maybe I need to rewatch it to really appreciate it. But for now, I can say this: it's fun. It's a fun film. It's the political side of it is it's there, but it doesn't really. But I'm not entirely sure if you're gonna be all that interested in it. At least not in the second half, when it seems to be mostly about action and personal gain rather than anything else. So yeah, it's a fun film. It's good. I recommend it. But I would recommend that you watch the other Captain America films first, at the very least. And you probably need age. That's another problem I have with this film, is that I know it's a sequel, but it can't stand on its own grounds, apparently. You kind of need, you need to have seen Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, the previous Captain America films. I know it's a sequel, I know it's a series, but I don't know. I just like films to, be something that, I have this philosophy about film that every film is someone's first. No matter what, any film that's made can be the first film someone sees. The very first film. And most of the time, I would like people to watch that the first film they watch is a film, completely independent that can stand on its own grounds and be a great film just on its own grounds. That you don't need to see any other film or read any material or anything. And that's kind of... Civil War doesn't really meet the requirement. It's a fun film, and I think you can still get something out of it even if you haven't seen those films. But it still feels like a film that needs a bit more backstory and all that, and it's already long enough. So yeah, but if you went to see Civil War, you probably have seen at least some of the Marvel films beforehand. So that's all I got. Apparently, that's all I got, pretty much. Biggest negatives are, well, it felt a bit too long, and some of the characters felt a bit either out of place or just unnecessary, I suppose. Well, that's that. I'm not entirely sure what's the next step, but I got exams to worry about now, so we'll see what the next film is gonna be. And I'm not sure if I have anything to say unless the next video is probably just gonna be either it's gonna be something wrestling related, or I'm gonna be waiting all the way until June to cover E3. And that's about it. So, I can say this much, it was a better versus film than Batman v Superman.